Hello everyone. In this video we are going to practice using the HTML5 canvas facilities in order to do the simple exercise of drawing the Japanese flag on a flagpole. Pick the Japanese flag because it's much easier than many of the other flags out there, and while also demonstrating both the rectangles and the circles. So for this application, the HTML file is very simple. All we have is our HTML um, standard HTML tags, head tags, body tags. Within the body, we have the canvas element. This is we have it with a width of 500 pixels by a height of 500 pixels, which is more than enough for what we are drawing. And then we're also loading this script in order to do the actual drawing. So this one on the right, that's what we're going to draw, and this is our working copy. So in our JavaScript file, we have a draw function. It's called by the body. Once the body's done loading, we need it to be in a function and run on load, because if we had it outside of the function, it would try to run and you would get an error because the canvas wouldn't be around to actually draw on yet. So now in this draw function, first thing we do is we grab this canvas element and we get the context. This is what you need to do. The context is what's actually going to be what we're actually going to be drawing on. The next step, first thing we're going to draw is going to be the pole. In order to do that, we're going to create a little utility method here called draw rectangle. So this method takes a number of parameters, the canvas context, which we've just received, as well as the XY, this is the starting position, and the width, the height, and the color that we want. So now that we have that, we're going to create another function, call it draw pole. We'll just have this take the canvas context. And all we're going to do in this method is call draw rectangle and give it the parameters it needs. So it'll take the context starting at 0, 0, because that's the top right corner right here of the canvas. And we are going to make it 50 pixels wide by 500 pixels, the whole canvas in height. And the color is going to be gray. So we'll save that and refresh, and nothing shows up. So we actually need to call that method. So draw pole canvas context. There we go. So we've got our pole. The next thing we're going to do is draw the border of the flag. So in order to do that, I'll copy over one that was written previously. First thing we do is we save the context. So this saves any settings that were in place before because we're going to be changing them throughout this method. This way, everything done within this method is encapsulated within it. So you're not going to be screwing other things up with your changes. So first thing we do is save the context. Next, we say that we are going to begin the path. This sets us up for drawing the rectangle that is the border. We put in the parameters for the border. We set the style of the line. We want to have it be a width of 5, and we're going to have the style is just black. That's the color. Stroke will actually draw the rectangle with these parameters here. And then close path to end this drawing. So we will call this function here. And parameters we will give it will be 50 pixels for where it'll start, because that's at the end of where our pole is, and it's going to start at the very top, and then it's going to have a width of 300 by 200. So we'll save that, and there's our flag. Okay, so now we just need to do the last step, which is to draw the circle in the middle of the flag. So in this function, what we should really be doing is having a context save and context restore, but just to be brief, in this instance we are changing the fill style, so this will be the color of the circle to red, and then we want to put the start and the stop. These are both parameters for this arc function on the canvas context, and those are given in radians. So 0 and 2 times math.pi, that will bring us into a full circle for our angles that we're drawing. And with that, the x and y is going to be the start location, r is the radius, and all we need to do is run stroke, fill, and then close. So we will call that function. And we'll have it start at 200 by 100, 200x, 100y, and give it a radius of 45. Save that, refresh, and there we go. That's how you draw the Japanese flag on a flagpole using the HTML5 canvas. Good luck!